You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind.
First turn I make it for the jack-o'-lantern. First, I get the slicey dicey for making the pumpkin goods.
You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
It seems like you need to be solaced, telling from the scratch on your knee. You fell and got hurt in the process, and now you come crying to me. I catered for these circumstances, and hands carry needle and stitch in my pants. Don't worry, my dear, there is nothing to fear. Just a stitch and a sew, soon it's almost as new. And the cut will adhere after all. You have to admit it is not as severe.
Greetings, one and all. Welcome to the darkest, most horrifying, cheap and gimmicky night of the solar cycle. I am the Nightmare Traveler, and I am here to talk funny and to introduce to you to a indie point-and-click adventure game of German provenience, but mostly to talk funny.
Despite its title, Harvey and Edna tells us the tale of a young orphan by the name of Lilly, a well-behaved, quiet and obedient girl, the sort of widely ignored child invisible to many, constantly living on the side tracks of life, only to be reprimanded by her mother superior, whom hates children.
Lily, how many times do I have to tell you not to sing while working? You know very well that I hate the sound of cheerful children. These children are driving me crazy.
Confound these children. They drive me to drink.
Our story begins in an undisclosed convent, probably residing on the verge of the Twilight Zone. For you see, the concept of reality as we know it bears no significance in Lily's psychologically twisted world. The disembodied voice of a non-specific narrator is recounting the events as we proceed, often breaking the fourth wall for good measure.
Hello, dear friends of adventure games. The spyware we installed on your computers tells me that many children are sitting at their screens again tonight. That's why I'll refrain from telling you the story that I had actually prepared for you. Of course, that's a real shame. It would have been such a good story.
Entertaining explosions, a giant robotic opossum,
but also with many offensive expressions and an inordinate amount of excessive violence.
As you can see, this narrator loves his job.
The story that I'll tell you instead has a slightly different flavor. It's about Lilly, the most virtuous child in the entire world. And it begins in the courtyard of a small, sleepy convent school.
not too far from the place where the giant robotic opossum is sucking the brains of innocent bystanders out through their eye sockets.
Lily has a best friend in the form of Edna, a slightly older girl who seems to be rather cuckoo in the thinking department.
She told you to get rid of the termites on the swing tree, right? It was just a question of time. Does she even realize how hard it was to collect them all? I even broke into the firefighters museum to get the large red ones. And then all the trouble I went to teaching them tricks. They can already do a polonaise if you lay a trail of jelly. I wanted to teach them the cha-cha next.
Now, to be fair, all of the humanity portrayed in Lily's world feels somewhat detached from our common and limited perception of normality.
Shibuya power! Shibuya power! Shit, girl, you're so clueless about trends. Just look at how you dress. Don't you know that Shibuya and only Shibuya is hot right now? Where's your glitter? Where are your Japanese accessories? Miyorushi Sparkle! Miyorushi Sparkle!
But not everything is fun and quirky around the convent, as children start to die horrible and disfiguring deaths all around our main character, which isn't all that surprising actually, considering she's the one who's killing them.
It's always the quiet ones.
Our first clue is pretty much bumped into our face as little innocent Lily, during the ever so harmless act of solving a simple puzzle, as per usual in adventure games, ends up accidentally having one of her schoolmates eaten alive by flesh-craving termites. She giggled in joy as a cute little gnome only she could see was covering the gory remains of the corpse with bright pink paint as the narrating voice gleefully indulged in her delusions. The gnomes and pink paint clearly serve as a mechanism of self-preservation, allowing Lily not to realize the horror of her actions, thus remaining trapped in her illusionary existence. Imagine Terry Gilliam's Tideland if it was actually good. Things only get more complicated when a dark, ominous figure in the name of Dr. Marcel enters the story, planning on brainwashing our main heroine and her best friend Edna to deprive them of their own free will. That will be the start of our heroine's journey into the depth of her subconscious hell, fending off the demons blocking her path towards arbitrary freedom and a rightful right to be an ill-mannered child like, the Bart Simpson, or the Fiend, or the Cutie Mark Crusaders, or,
But wait, something is amiss. Reality, that is.
What is Lily's world? Is it just a manifestation of her psychotic mind, unable to process and cope with her dreadful sins, occasionally clashing with her externally induced religious belief and painstakingly taught behavior? Is it just the effects of Dr. Marcel's revolutionary hypnotherapy? Why isn't anybody else noticing all the pink blood, for that matter? Is Edna and everyone else just a figment of her imagination? As the line between what's real and what's fantasy blurred to the point of no return? That, my friends, is the true strength of this powerful story. It provides us the clues, the symbolism, the allegories, the metaphysical trips, but not the straight answers. There is no absolute truth to be found in this dark yet colorful world. It is up to the players to figure out their own take and just how far deep the proverbial rabbit hole will drag them into this wonderland of horrors. From an aesthetic standpoint, this game is indubitably German. The unique character's design feels a lot reminiscent of the more popular strip comics of said country, and it reminds me of past gaming experiences such as Woodruff and the Schnibble of Azimuth and the Goblin series, which were much appreciated by yours truly. The puzzles and riddles, item collecting, NPC interacting that we all come to expect from adventure games are here, with a few noticeable twists. The more difficult enigmas have a skip option for those who don't have the brains to solve them.
It's okay. Nobody will judge you. Come on. Press the skip button. Press the skip button. Press the skip button. I dare you. Press the skip button. Do you dare pressing the skip button already?
There is the occasional ludicrous sequence of illogical puzzles that made this genre infamous in the first place, like having to remove the carved part of an old tree with the aid of a chainsaw you exchanged for a kitchen knife from the convent's chef.
Stop! Oh, I gotta admit, I did not expect a chainsaw.
At the very least, they had actual gasoline for this chainsaw. And for the two of you who got this joke, congratulations! You are hardcore adventure gamers.
But within a context that trolls with our conception of reality and pushes us to seek the answers in an unconventional way, the very idea of puzzle solving could be interpreted as a means to further the story even more away from logic. A clever instrument that amplifies the player's descent into the seemingly irrational madness of Lilly's world. Harvey's New Eyes is a solid, dark, and twisted psychological horror intertwined with a self-aware black comedy mostly provided by our snappy narrator. It tests the player's wits just as much as their sanity. Not to mention, it's a glorious nostalgia-filled trip for all die-hard adventure game lovers out there.
But wait! Something else appeared to be amiss. Who is this Harvey character that's mentioned in the title? What's wrong with his eyes? Oh, but the answer for that, my friends, I'm afraid you have to seek it for yourselves. Because, guess what? I am not going to tell you. Oh no. It's the voice again. No! 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 Leave me be! I am my own person! I am the master of my own destiny! You have no right to intrude into my thoughts! Damn you! Stop!
Let me try. Hey, Pally, what you're really looking for is a bazooka. A bazooka! A bazooka!
Oh, there's a bazooka!
Good one.
Sorry about that.
I blame myself.
I can't stand to watch children bleed. I guess I should revise my statement. The wound is not going to heal. Forget about all that I said and work harder on your stitching skill. I catered for these circumstances, and hands carry needle and stitch in my pants. Now you pay the bill for your lack of skill. And please do stop crying and mourning and sighing. Don't weep like a whelp that is painfully dying. I merely was trying to help. Oh, I have needle and stitch right here.